So here's another view, and this is adjacent to the area that we were just looking at. And it's out of focus because what I want to do is describe to you, as I'm focusing in on it, what it is you're going to see. These are plant axes that have been removed from that pile, that have basically, excuse me, fallen off to the side and are now piled up in a different bramble. But there's all kinds of parts here that are lying together, and you can see the former edge of where the rock was. This is the edge of the rock, or at least this was part of the rock, and that's a fracture line. The rock, the volcanic ash has been dissolved, but this line, this straight edge, represents the former edge of a piece of rock. Everything on the top side, in this section up here, this was all within the rock. The rock was dissolved using hydrofluoric acid. That is the tuff, the volcanic ash was dissolved. The plant material, because it's carbon and inert in the acid, remained behind. You've got to be very careful with these acids, work in a fume hood. They're extremely dangerous, very harmful. And so I don't recommend using acids and bases unless you have the proper clothing, safety, and laboratory settings. But going back to the description, you can actually see a lot of the smaller pieces that have come out of the rock, fallen off the edge here, and piled up in this area. And what I want to focus on here is a branch that has, here's a branch here. It comes up and divides right here, and then it forms these other smaller branch tips that recurve, they curl. And this was the general stature of the plant. The branch endings had these little curved endings, and I want to zoom in on that because they're very delicate. They're less than a millimeter in diameter. They're very pretty. That little flake that you see there is some dish detergent that I put in here to try and remove the water and clear the surface. And actually I kind of buggered it up because the dish detergent is now recrystallizing, and I don't like it. But that's what that flake is, not that reflection that you see. That is a particle floating on the water surface, being held there by water tension. But this flake right here appeared after I put a couple of drops of dish detergent in the water here in hopes of reducing the tension and removing oil that had accumulated from the rock saw that I used to cut the original rock sample. Now here I'm going to lift. Here you can see this is another example of the recovery where, you know, this thing is entangled, but you can clearly see the recurved ends, branch tipped. It's upside down right now, but you can see, in addition to the larger portion of the branch here, it's broken right here, and likely would have had a mirror image of this over on the other side over here. But this part comes up, it divides in one half here, the other half over here, and on this side you can see the recurved, they look like little elf hats or elf shoes, with the recurved tips right in here. And let's go a little closer, if we can, onto that. Move it over and focus. Looks like there's a hair in there. Okay, that's the little tip of the branch. If we can get that in focus. Not terribly clear. It'll be more obvious on a dried specimen, which I'll show you at another time. There's a lot of junk in there that has to be blown away and cleared off, and then carefully teased apart to get the plant material disentangled and separated from the other components that are there. But that's all for now.